Hello everybody, it's Claire here from Sewing by Claire, and today I've got another kit opening video for you. This time it's the beach donkeys. Now the beach donkeys are a standalone pattern that has been released by Sarah Peel for a part of the Lunar Lapin range, Lunar Lapin and Friends, and this was actually the Christmas surprise box in December 2022, so it's Christmas just gone, and this is now February 2023. So just to say that this kit was, I think, £20. Let me just check. Hold on one second. Sorry, it's not £20. It's £25 for the kit for one donkey. So obviously that's quite an investment. And because this is a standalone pattern, within the kit you get the pattern, and you also with the instructions here, and also a story at the back written by Grace Mahon, which is Grace's Sarah Peel's daughter. And then we also get the pattern pages in there, so let's just pop that inside there to keep it all together. So I have already taken this out of the kit and out of the, because this is the second time I've recorded this, my phone for some reason keeps changing the orientation, which is most annoying. So but hopefully you'll bear with me, and I'll remember everything that I said. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Tina Page, because Tina's actually sponsored the kit for making the beach donkeys, as she wanted to see them made. So I want to say a big thank you to Tina on behalf of me and on behalf of everybody who watches this and the Make Me video as well. So let's have a little look and see what we've got. So I keep stroking this. This is the main fur. Isn't that just lovely? So you can see the lovely thick pile on that piece of faux fur there. It's got a mesh back to it. So that's how that looks. Let's just measure that piece for you. So that one is just over 1.5 inches wide, and it is just over 7 inches long. Now the thing to note about this is that this faux fur has what's called a nap, so the fur is all sitting in this direction, lying down. So when you are cutting your faux fur, if you've not got a kit, you need to make sure that the nap of the fur lies along that length of the piece. So the nap isn't going across like that, it's actually going down that length. The other thing with faux fur is that when you go to cut it, we don't just snip it across like this. What you need is the faux fur to overhang this mesh part at the back here. And the way that you do that is that you have to fold back the fur when you're wanting to cut it. And you can either use a comb or you can use, say, a pin, and you can just part that fur so that you can get through to the mesh down at the bottom down here. It's a little bit fiddly and it takes a little bit of practice, but if you can see, by just carefully separating out that fur along your cutting line, you can get down to where you can actually see the mesh through the fur, and that's then where you will cut when you are cutting your mane and your tail out, because this is used for the mane and the tail. And that way then what you do is you preserve the length of the fur so it goes over and hides your stitches. If you just snip it straight across, you're going to cut it off and you're going to spoil the cut and the lie of that fur. Okay, so those are my suggestions. Obviously you can do it however you like, but those are my suggestions. The next thing that we've got is this piece of boucle here. Now, this is a white boucle, and what I've noticed is, I mean, it's lovely and soft, but the only thing is, I'm going to point out to you is there's a bit of stretch in that. I don't know if you can see that on the video. Hopefully you can. And there's most stretch across the width, so across the wider part, and not so much, but a little bit against the length there. Now, because we use this boucle for the hands, the ears, the muzzle, and then the hooves, we need to be careful that when we're working with this and that we are stuffing this, we don't start to stretch it out of shape and make it all bulge out. So I think that what I will end up doing with this, I'm not sure yet, but I think is I'm going to use some lightweight fusible interfacing on the back here, and by ironing that onto the back here, if that works for me, and obviously you'll find out in the video, then that will take the stretch out of this piece of fabric for me, so that when I'm stuffing, it'll keep some of its integrity and keep to its original size. Again, it's just a tip. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's just whatever you choose to do. But just be careful when you're stuffing, because that will stretch as you start to stuff that piece of the limbs and the parts that you use with that fabric. Okay. The next thing then is we've got this lovely piece of charcoal grey marled felt here, which is lovely. Sometimes with the felt I have noticed a difference between the front and the back. This one it's less noticeable, so I'm quite pleased about that. But if you do notice or have a preference for which side you prefer to work with, then I would suggest you cut it out in the single and you mark your fabric pieces, or you mark the top and the bottom, so that you know which side that it is that you're working with, and that way you'll get them all looking the same. The other thing that I would suggest when working with the Cool Crafting felt is that you actually give it a nice steam press first, perhaps with a pressing cloth, and take any any shrinkage out of the fabric before you start cutting it, marking your pattern pieces and cutting it out. So before I do anything with this, the first thing I'll do is take it to my ironing board, use plenty of steam and a nice warm iron and a pressing cloth, and just steam it, because I have noticed there's been a little bit of shrinkage on some felts from there that I've used in the past. It's purely just one of those things because it's a natural fibre. And if you just iron it first with plenty of steam, you'll get rid of that before you then start to mark your pattern pieces onto the fabric. That way, if you do have to iron any seams open or press any seams as you're sewing, you've got all of that shrinkage out of the way, and that doesn't then distort your finished character. Anyway, that's all of that over and done with, just those top tips over and done with. So let's just now have a look. This piece is 8 3/4 inches wide, which is just over 22 centimetres. And then it's a lovely long piece of felt, as you can see here. So let me just measure that. And that is approximately 95 centimetres long, which is about 37.5 inches long. So that's that lovely piece of felt just there. Oops, getting my packaging mixed up. Just fold that in there, keep that just there. Now, the other thing that we did get with this is we've got a hand sewing needle that we need for this little bit of felt is for doing the background to the eyes here. So the little black button for the eye will actually stand out there. So it just goes just behind there. The other thing that you will have got with it will be a doll needle. Like this. Now this one here is one from out of my stash that I'd already got, because I bought the kits in the UK and had them shipped to my mum's, but I actually live in southern Spain and I needed to take these kits back home with me. So I took out the doll needle and left it at my mum's, because I knew that the security guards at customs or security might have a problem with it. So I didn't want to go through that hardship of having to explain. So you will get a long doll needle with your kit as well. It's approximately 3.5 inches long. Really useful for stitching through the arms and through the legs. We also get a reel of this leisure sateen thread, and that's my only thing with the kits. I do wish this was either a Gutterman or it was a Moon thread. Those are my two preferences for sewing with, I must admit, but those are the brands available, obviously. This just isn't a brand that I'm familiar with, but the colour match is extremely good. It's a dark charcoal, very dark charcoal grey, not quite a black, but very dark charcoal grey, and it is an excellent colour match on there for the body of our beach donkey, Sidney. Okay, we then have got a variety of buttons here, so let's have a look at those. So the biggest two are these ones here. Let's have a look and see what size they are. So they're 1 inch wide, which is 2.5 centimetres, and those are for attaching the legs for Sidney. We've then got these 3 buttons here, again in black, and these are just over 1/2 inch wide, so probably about 5/8 of an inch wide. So that is approximately just over 1.5, well, probably 1.5 centimetres, isn't it? 1.6 centimetres wide. There's 3 of those, so 2 for attaching the arms. I'm going to say arms. I know that donkeys have 4 legs, but in this case we've got 2 arms and also 1 for the tail as well, because we've got a nice tail on there. And then we've got these 2 smaller buttons here, and these ones each are 1 centimetre wide, so it's about 1/2 inch, isn't it? Just under 1/2 inch, probably 4/8 of an inch wide, and those are the 2 for the eyes. Okay, so that concludes everything in the kit there for you £25, including the pattern. for that. So represents reasonable value. It is an investment, but reasonable value. And obviously once you've got the pattern, you can make that again and again. Next time you just order a remake kit and you just get this without the pattern. I just want to say thank you very much to Tina again for sponsoring this video and for letting me bring the beach donkey to you. I'll get round to making a video for this as soon as I can do. If you like my videos, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, because obviously I will be making up this and several other kits shortly, and if you're on my subscriber list then you'll obviously get to see those without having to search for them. But also if you hit the notification bell, then you will be notified when I do upload a new video, and then that will make sure that you don't miss anything, especially if you're particularly looking out for a character or two. So thank you very much for watching today. I hope everything's all good with you. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.